Hey guys, Manny CA here with hopefully another video somebody's gonna watch. This time we're talking about the Nagant Revolver. Look at this. Isn't she beautiful? This one is in really good shape and it's a Century Arms import. I want to thank our buddy Pat from over at the range who brought it over. One of the guys that we know out there. He shoots a lot like us. He loves shooting, loves old guns, and this is definitely an old gun. I mean, what can you say about this gun? Look at it. I mean, it's not a Smith & Wesson, and I know. And by the way, if you got any haters out there, and you guys know who I'm talking about, please spare your comments, because yeah, I know we can buy a Smith & Wesson. I know we can get a Ruger. I know we can get a high standard, even if you want to go a little bit further back. But talk about history. That's what we're talking about right here. I'll point a muzzle at you guys, but it's okay. I think you guys are safe. Great piece of history right here. You know, check it out. I mean, 7-shot Tsar revolver. I call it the Tsar revolver. You know, revolution, the Russian Revolution, 1917. The First World War. You know, even the Second World War, where these guys were used a little bit. And they don't get, I mean, look how nice. They don't get any more pristine than this one. Beautiful gun. You've got the fixed rear sight. I mean, talk about history. You guys want to talk about history. This gun has it all. You know, late 19th century, when they got smokeless powder coming out, everything coming out, you know, everyone was trying new things. I mean, how can you not like, look at that. Look at that. How can you not like that? The hammer with the firing pin just like that. Come on! I mean, history right here, you guys. History in the making, like I say. The gun is, you know, it's an antique. What are you going to do? You know? What are you going to say? Fun to shoot, right? Even though a lot of times people shoot, I think it's 32 mag out of here. Not 32 mag. Or 32 Colt. One of those. But you shoot those out of here and the case is all, you know, most of the time crack on you and they're not reloadable because the chambers are too big. How are you going to shoot a gun like this, right? Well, I'm going to show you guys. We've never bought ammo for this gun. You know, the standard 7.62 by 38 millimeter rimmed, or the 7.62 Nagant. We call it the Nagant rifle. That way you guys don't get confused with it. Great little piece of history here. If you guys are into history like I am, history buff, you'll love something like this. You can shoot history. I mean, come on. That's one of the reasons we're into this, isn't it? Be able to shoot history. That's why I'm into it. It's just you know, it's fun. You see these in history books, and you're like, whoa, I got one at home. And I haven't had one. I've had a couple of them, and I just got rid of them just because, you know, they're a chore to load for. But I'm going to show you guys the way we do it, and we're going to make some brats for our buddy so he can do some shooting. And of course you guys are all familiar with the Nagant, how the seal over here, they complete the seal, you know, the barrel cylinder gap, right? You remember that. Let's see if I get, there you go. You can see that right there. And, you know, when you shoot, you get powder that expels on both sides. Well, a lot of people, well, the people who created this gun thought that was a waste, and that you should be able to harness the power of the exploded gas, the wasted gas, by sealing this when you pull the trigger. So now you can see when you pull the trigger, or I'm sorry, when you cock the hammer, the whole cylinder gets pushed up front and the barrel cylinder gap is removed completely. Pretty neat idea. I don't think testing I've done with it really doesn't show it to be all that effective. Theoretically, you're supposed to get 75 more feet per second, but I've never really seen it. Even shooting, you know, their full length brass doesn't really do anything. So, what can that? Okay, so we went through the good. Let's go through the bad. The thing about this gun, the ejector rod located under the barrel has to be twisted and pulled straight out. And that's kind of difficult to do if you've got, you know, gloves on. I'll show you. Especially in Russia where you get really horrible temperatures. See? Pulls out. That comes to the side. and then with the loading gate open, there's a loading gate, you see that? You would eject your rods, eject your shells, like that. Kind of a hassle, you know, but, you know, it is what it is, you know. And there's no spring on that ejector rod either, so you have a little bit of, you know, you've got a lot of work you're going to have to do. So, but you know what? The Nagants are great. These are just really cool. Mostly after World War II, they started coming in. Let me see if we can find what the mark is on this one. Yeah, I think it was 32 ACP is what people were shooting out of these. And when I shot 32 ACP out of here, what was going on was the cases would just crack on you 50% of the time because the chambers were too big. No, I haven't got a chance to look this guy up, but I can't. It doesn't really say where it's from. It doesn't have any of the familiar proofs. I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at it. You know, you got a lot of proof marks, but none of the Tula or Izevsk or, you know, the familiar Nagant type. So let's talk about reloading for this guy. So, you know, you're looking at ammo for this thing. You're probably looking at maybe anywhere from 50 to 75 rounds, 50 to 75 cents per round for this gun. And most of the stuff that's on the market now is that Fiocchi stuff, and that stuff is not the greatest. I'll just put it that way. The brass, and it's, you know, I mean, it's okay, but it's expensive. Why do you want to do that? Where I'm going to show you a method the way we've always done it using 223 brass. Ah, look at that. Free brass at the range, you say? Exactly. Another frugal tip here from the cheapskate that is Manny CA. And you know what? People toss this at the range all the time. Why not use it, right? So that's what we do. We like to use free brass. You go to the range, you get some brass. Guys are always shooting AR at the range. Ask them, hey, can I have your brass? Most of the time, you know, they'll give it to you. They don't care. They're really good about that. A lot of guys don't load, which is beyond me why. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a case, your 223 case, and you can see here, oh, it looks like it's a little bit modified, and we're going to shave down the base by 10 to 15 thousandths of an inch using our drill press. Since we don't have a lathe, a lot of people don't have a lathe, a lot of people have drill presses though, something simple to do. And then we're going to size it using 30 carbine dies. You see that little bump right there? Let me see if I can get that up here. See that little bump right there? Yeah, that bump right there. See that right here? Well, we'll size it, and then we're going to have to go back to the press and take it off. And then we trim these down. See, to length. And you've got yourself a brass. Now this is 223. You got yourself brass that chambers in the gun beautifully. Look at that. Wow. So we're going to load some, show you guys how to do it. Load it, and we'll go take you out on the range and we'll do some shooting with it. So stay tuned if you guys are into that. You know, it's a tedious process, but if you do 12 at a time or do 14 at a time, so you get two, before you know it, after a couple months, you'll have a nice little stockpile of brass and you won't mind shooting it. I mean, the guns are really fun. So stick around, you'll watch us do it. We're going to head on over to the drill press right now, show you how we do that, and then following we'll do some sizing, we'll clean it up, do a final size and trim, and you guys will see some tools that we've used before, and we'll go back, do some shooting with it. Alright guys, we're at the drill press now. I'm going to demonstrate how I like to reduce the diameter of my brass. So you take your piece of brass, we've got our big brass bag over here. We got this at the range the other day for free. So a lot of this is military head stamp. Try to use all the same head stamp. I'm using Federal, it looks like 2013 stamped. So you have a little bit more consistent in your lots and your brass thickness. It's a little easier when it comes down to do your sizing and stuff. Now you want 1/2 inch sticking out of the bottom. Hand tighten it and then tighten with your chuck. Alright. And now make sure you get your file, and you want to do right about here. You don't want to hit the rim. You want to go 1/2 inch on your brass right through there. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I use a 3-sided file because it goes faster. You got 3 sides to work on. before you got to re-chalk your brass. Sometimes the brass will wobble out. No big deal, we just stop and put it back. So I'll show you how we do this. I'm going to keep your file moving. When you don't load it up. Now if I had two of these, I'd have both of these pre-chalked, ready to go. That way I could just drop it and don't have to worry about stopping it. But again, we're going to be taking about 10 to 15 thousandths off of this. So let me re-chalk my file here. What I do is just use a card file or a brush or whatever to take it out and re-chalk it. Make sure that it's on there tight good. Give it another go ahead. Usually about 2 passes of that is what we use. Then we take a little 220. And then we finish it off with a little bit of 600. Just so it's easy when we're sizing and we're working on it. That way it has a tendency to go up into the die a little easier. So you can feel right here where we kind of shaved it down a little bit. And let me see if I can find one that's the same brand, and I'll give you the difference, show you the differences. Of course now I can't find any that we need. Alright, here we go. Alright, so now at the base of this guy we got 75. And you see that? Now we're down to 65. We're taking it down about 10 thousandths, and it could go down a little bit more, but I think that's fine because during the second stage we're gonna have to bring it back here. If when we do the sizing, we might have to take off the lip that forms in there. Now we're gonna go over to the press and the loading press. I'm gonna show you what we do. All right, guys, here we are at the press again, and what we're gonna start doing is sizing our brass down. Now, you see what we did here is after we removed all of the excess over here, the 10 to 15 thousandths on the drill press, what we're going to do now is we're going to size it in a 30 carbine full length die with the stem removed. So there's that. You can see the stems removed from the die. We've got the 223 shell holder in place. We'll take a little bit of our wax. You got to use wax, very good wax, otherwise you will get stuck. And when you size these, you want to go slow and you want to continually turn them, make quarter turns. I'll show you. So we run up, you can see it how it's kind of breaking down in there. And so you're just going to be working it. I know the press is flexing. Thank you, press Nazis, for telling me. Thing is, haven't had a chance to really do anything about the press flexing, but I'll show you. See what's going on here? You see how we're taking it and sizing it down. You can see the little lump right here. See? Looks like a gastric bypass patient. Oh man, that was rude. I'm sorry, but it's true. So see what we're doing, and we're just taking the long handle on this thing would help at the moment. Keep turning. Make sure you got oil or enough lube on this thing. See? And if you're lucky, see what we're up to right about here now, you won't have that big of a bump that you have to remove. So you can see where we cut it and where it's coming down, and it's going very nicely. See? Twist. Oop, bring it down. Alright, and you got to be careful because sometimes you might rip the rim off. If you rip the rim off, well, start again. Let's see if make sure our press is adjusted correctly, and it is. Our shell holder is touching the top of the die. So, alright, there we go. You can see how far up. Now, we're going to go take this back to the lathe, or to the drill press, and we're going to have to remove this little hump right here. But after we do that, we're golden. And then all we're going to do is trim them. So, I'm going to size these guys up right here. I'm going to making up a batch for our buddy, just so he can be able to shoot. And then we're going to go out there and we'll bring you back to the drill press. We'll show you what we do after this. So, alright, I thought I'd go through and show you guys a little bit on what's happening with the progress on these. Make sure you put a very good lube on the whole thing. Very good wax on the whole thing. Take it down, quarter of the way, turn it. Go down, turn it. Make sure you keep applying lube from your fingers, because you will not want this thing to stick. And you will feel when you reach this area that we shaved, it gets easier. See? So, we took off about 15 thousandths. I wouldn't hesitate to take off 20 thousandths, especially on the brass that, you know, again, we're using military brass, a little bit thicker brass. Federal, this is their military type brass, because it's they had crimp primers in them, and we had to remove the crimp. We just used the deburring tool for that. But again, get them going, lube them real well. If you hear that sound, they're sticking, so pop it out. Add a little more lube from your fingers, from your little tray here. And once you reach the base where we hit it with the yeah, there goes. We got a stuck case. I'll show you how to remove that. It happens. It's the nature of the beast. There, I'll show you guys what we did to remove our stuck case here. And you can see the rim. I guess we got. Let's see if we can focus it in. We had a little too much judicial filing on there, and it probably bumped the case because the rim was really, really weak. What we did is we took a screwdriver, average thin screwdriver, through the top of the case, punched it right out. So, no problem. Pitch it, keep going. That's what happens when you guys make your own cases. It happens. Stuff happens. You just improvise and move on. Alright, let me show you guys what we did here. You can take the cylinder off of the gun. You see this? And what you'll do is you kind of go test each one. You see? You can see the ones that are sitting really nice and flush, and those are the ones we're going to keep. But the ones over here, you can see that we're going to have to take it back to the drill press, and you can see the bump right there we're going to file out. So, take it back to the drill press, just like we did before. File these down. I'm not going to do it because it's kind of tedious, and you guys already saw us use the drill press before. So, good way to chamber check each load, see? And since these are a little bit heavier military brass, I guarantee you're not going to have much expansion, if any, when you shoot these in this gun. Alright, you guys remember this little guy right here, the cutoff saw that we made with our little jig so we could hold our brass? Well, the end of this thing got lost a little bit ago. I don't know where it went, so we're just going to use this little piece of tubing to hold it down. Now we've got our jig set up to cut 1.5 inches. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to hold it down, tighten it up a little bit, make our cut. I tell you, this thing is very, very useful. You can do a lot, especially if you're making a lot of different calibers. This is what you want. And it's quick, it's easy, you see? You make your cut, you could chamfer and deburr. Just a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to do the rest of these. And then what we're going to do is we're going to move over to our Forester. I'll show you guys. I'll take one of these over here. We've got our Forester set up, trim. And what we're going to do is trim these to 1.5 inches. So there we go. We're set. We're just going to do it by hand. We want 1.5. A little bit more. And we're going to set the pilot in this thing. Perfect. We're set at 1.5. I'm going to lock this guy in. And don't forget, when you get done, we've got to chamfer and deburr the inside and the outside of it. So that's the last thing to do. After that, we treat it like a regular case. And we're going to load some ammo up for it. And grab my deburr. And there you go. That case is ready to load up.